So, season 6 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. No, I'm not going to spell it out. Anyways, what goes up must come down, or something like that. And, I mean, theoretically, I watched season 5 and vaguely remember it through the flashbacks as almost as though it never happened. So that's not good for the series if it's that forgettable. As far as season 6, which, you know, it's somewhat forgettable. I mean, in its own twisted logic, it almost makes sense. Marvel is definitely struggling with a lot of things because of massive incompetence through the years and different power struggles behind the scenes. It's evident by the constant changes in all of the Marvelverse, and then, Stan passing really through things. So we have those problems. And then, of course, there's actors doing 47 different productions and trying to keep all these, this high demand, and it's burning people out. And there are just some people who just never really seem to get a grasp of their character. The continuity. There's a lot of issues that just, they're really small, but they're enough to throw you off and just distract you from paying attention and absorbing the material properly. Or, you know, I could just be bored. And, I mean, there are shows that draw you in, and there are shows that just don't do anything when you're bored. Never mind if you technically shows with Netflix, itchy things that just, irritated me and distracted me and cost me, flow as well. So Netflix is worth, shooting themselves in the foot with that one. Basically, over programming. Too many programmers who really shouldn't be programming, and trying to put too much stuff in the code. That's a whole side issue. The show itself, it steps in order, and it sort of comes to a progression to wrap up an attempt to wrap up some answers from prior existences in a continuing flow, and then you have all these multiple parallel stories that interact, and in the end, it's almost as though nothing happened at all, anywhere, ever, in history. So, yeah, it's very confusing. And, I mean, attempting to keep things the same while changing them so that they're not the same, and doing the same thing that every other show has done so many times, basically lacking complete originality, because I mean, DC and Marvel are so parallel to each other that they're basically mockeries of themselves at this point. There's, like, every character has an equal, every story, they just, there was no originality. I don't know where the originality started, but most likely they just ripped off other writers in the beginning. I mean, the micro adaptations between what superheroes are in the first place, and the complete lack of reality. The reality that exists to explain them in some cases sort of comes around, but they just sort of always come shy of, the plausibility. So there, that's complete, utter 5 minutes of nonsense.